Well, hello Internet, and welcome to part 7 of my Blender video tutorial. In this part of the tutorial, we're going to start actually modeling things. So we're going to start off with something simple like a gear, and with that simple gear, I'm going to show you how to model even more complicated things, just in a simple type of example. And then after that, I'm going to create a three-dimensional dog, which is going to be a lot more complicated. And of course, we're going to be creating these different models using a combination of loop cuts, extrude, scale, mirroring, reference images, and a whole bunch of other different things. And like always, in the description underneath the video is a text version of every single thing I do, a cheat sheet if you would have you. And in the description underneath the video, you can find a link to that. And I have a lot to do, so let's get into it. Alright, so here we are inside of Blender. Very first thing we're going to do is get rid of that. Now I want to create a gear as quickly as humanly possible. So I'm going to go Shift and A and a mesh, and then I'm going to go cylinder. And if you can't see this, view it full screen. And I'm just going to move it up here above this plane, and then I'm going to scale it on the Z axis. So I just went and clicked on S and Z, and I want to scale it down like about that. And over here on the left side of the screen, you can see every single thing I do, both with my mouse as well as with the keyboard. And come in here like this, and then I'm going to scale or zoom in. Alright, so now what I want to do is I want to have some of these faces protruding out and some of them not. So I'm going to go and jump over into edit mode by clicking on tab, and I'm going to deselect by clicking on A, and then I want to select every other one of these faces. Well, I could go around and click on all of them individually, but that would be terrible. Let's say I want to instead select every single face around this entire object. How do I do that? Well, if I right click, well I'm in vertice mode, so I'm going to have to change into faces mode. Click like that. Alright, so I want to select every face. Well, I just right clicked and I got one face. That's not what I want. So I'm going to go Alt, and now I went and right clicked and I selected every single face around the entire object. Alright, so now what I want to do is I want to unselect every other one of those. How do I do that? Well, I can go down here to select and go to checker, deselect, and now I got every other one. Now I want to extrude these out. How do I do that? Well, let's just move this in. Extrude individual. So I can click on this and slowly move my mouse button out, and you can see now we're getting ourselves a gear. And left click, and now it has been set. So now what I want to do is put a hole in the middle. How do I do that? Well, first I got to go into object mode. So I'm going to go tab, and I'm in object mode, and I want it to be right in the center of my object. Well, let's say I was silly and put my 3D cursor over here, and now it's not in the center of the object. How do I get it in the center of the object? Well, first off, I have to have the object selected, and then I want it to go in there. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to go Shift and S and cursor to selected. Now it's in the center of the object. Perfect. So I want to now create a cylinder inside of here. So I'm going to go Shift and A. Well, I'm going to first off get rid of that, and Shift and A, and a cylinder. Way too big. Let's scale that down dramatically. And it's in the center, which is perfect. And that looks about right. And now I'm going to right select on this, and I'm going to cut a hole inside of it. I'm going to go over here to my modifier panel and add modifier, and I'm going to go for Boolean. Got Boolean. I am going to want to get the difference, which means I want to get rid of this cylinder in the center. The thing I want to get rid of is going to be under object. So I'm going to go eyedropper tool, come over here, click on the cylinder. Now I got the cylinder inside of there. I'm going to be able to go apply, and got all that. Then I'm going to jump over into edit mode to get rid of the cylinder. And here is the cylinder. I can just click on any part of said cylinder. Let's go and shut this off so we can see it a little bit better. So I can select any part of it and click on L. That selected everything. Then I'm going to go X and get rid of my cylinder in the center. And there you go. Now you have a hole in the center of your gear. Now another thing is sometimes we want things to be smooth. Let's jump over into regular object mode. All right, so everything's real nice and sharp right now, which is great. But let's say we would want to smooth it. Well, we could just go smooth. Now look real close. Uh-oh, now everything gets kind of, smoothie. All right, it's not exactly the look that we were looking for. Well, one way that we can correct that is using what are called loop cuts. And we're just going to add loop cuts to this. I'm going to jump back over into edit mode, and I'm going to go Control and R. And then we have to find where we want to have our loop cuts. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to push or roll with my middle mouse button to create 2 of them on there. And I'm going to select to get a hold of that. And then I'm going to left click to place them. Now what I'm going to be able to do, let's jump back over into object mode. You're going to see they're still blurry on the edges. What I can do, however, is I can get every single one of these edges. Make sure you have edge select selected down here, of course. And I'm going to first unselect, and then I'm going to hold down the Alt key and right click on every one of those. And now what I'm going to be able to do is move them upwards to get our sharpness once again inside of our little gear that we have here. Okay, so once again, Alt, click on this, and I'm going to go G. I'm going to go in the Z axis, drag it down. And now if we jump back into object mode, you're going to see that we have the sharp edges that we were looking for. All right, so there is just a whole bunch of different little cool things that we're going to do with our more complicated example where we create our dog next, but just wanted to show them in a more simplistic example. And now we can jump over and do something a little bit more complicated. Okay, so now what I want to do is model a 3D dog. So let's get rid of this cube right here, and we're going to bring in a background image that we're going to be able to work with. So I'm just going to left click on that, background images right here, open this up and go, and I want to put it only on the right axis. So I'm going to go click on that and click on right, and then click on open. And then I'm going to click on shepherd's side, which is the image I want to use. And then I want to show that. And as you can see, once again, here's everything I'm doing over here on the left side of the screen. I'm going to go to 3, and then I'm going to click on 5. And there you can see is my dog that I'm going to use to model everything on. All right, so we can close this off so we don't have that on the screen. And then what we're going to do, make sure we're in object mode, and we're going to basically block in the whole body and the head using a plane. So I'm going to go Shift and A, Mesh and Plane. And I want to be able to see it. It's laying on its side, so I'm going to go right, or I'm going to click on R and Y and 90, and there is our plane we're going to use. All right, so click on G, and then we're just going to start placing this guy inside of here. Now we got to go into edit mode, so tab, and then I'm going to make sure I have vertices selected here. I'm going to select this vertice and G, and then I'm going to drag it into place to basically block off the whole entire dog's body. So clicked on that with the right mouse button, go and get it into place with G, and then we're going to click with the left mouse button to place and do this over and over again. So you see that we're just basically just trying to get this in here. This isn't, professional made, but whenever you very first start off, I think this is a pretty good place to start off. All right, so G once again, left mouse button to set it, and go and select this again, and I'm just clicking on extrude, and select this, and G to place it down. Now whenever you're placing this inside of here, you're going to want to make sure that you have a plane that basically goes from one leg to the other, and the same for this one back here, and also for wherever you want to roughly put the tail inside of. So again, I'm going to extrude again. This time I'm probably going to go down here to right around here where I want my leg to be. Right click on that, G, and let's just slowly place that in there. Select this again, extrude, and then this time it's going to end where the leg is basically going to end on our model. And go and get this guy, place it right about here. And you want to slowly, as you're coming through here and blocking this off, you want these two to come together because they're going to meet at the tail section. So let's get this and extrude, maybe put this like that, and then select this, and then bring it up inside of here so that we're right around the same place. Remember, there's the leg where I'm going to basically block it off, and go select that with the right mouse button again, extrude, and now we're getting close to the tail. So I'm going to have the top be a little bit smaller and the bottoms be bigger. Get this, G, and I think that'll be perfectly fine right there. Select that, extrude once again, and let's have that be like right there. Bring this in with the G, and we're going to come in here pretty close to block in our tail. All right, extrude once again. Get this guy, bring it up here because the tail is going to come out towards the top, of course, and extrude a little bit more. Bring this in sharper, and maybe do one more just for the heck of it. All right, so there's that, there's this, and bring that up. Okay, so that's where the tail is going to sort of be coming out of. All right, so now I want to block in the rest of the dog's body. So I'm going to ignore the ears, and because they're going to be separate, I'm going to do like a mirrored modifier on this to get this to come in. Now this time I got more real estate I'm going to cover with the right side than, what I mean by right side is these guys right here, than on the left. So I'm going to sort of move them a little bit slower, and extrude, And let's put it up like that. And then bring this guy back down again. Slowly wrap it around the head. Extrude. Bring this back down again. G. And it's all just something that you do by eye. It's not, you know, there's no ironclad rules here. And maybe like this. I'm going to want some different things to play with here in the ear area, just so you know that. Now we're going to be able to do loop cuts to add more dimensions. So we'll just see how it works out. And extrude again and place it. G, drag that back up inside of there. This, and we're wrapping it up. So you got that there. G, this, and now we're getting it pretty much equal. So that's good. And extrude. Let's get it down to right around here. Get this guy, bottom of a dog. That, extrude 2 more times will probably be enough. So this, and extrude again, and wrap this up where the dog's nose is going to roughly go. Okay, so we got the whole dog's body, the head, and the main torso all blocked in. Now what I want to do is I want to add some thickness to it. So I'm going to come out of here on this plane. I'm going to select everything and do an extrude. And go, and you just sort of like eyeball it. I'm going to make it not too big, not too... I want to make it wide enough that I can have the feet be far enough apart, but also not so wide that the face is all stretched out. And that looks pretty good. And now what I need to do is come in and go and get face select. And I'm going to take out all of these faces by right-clicking. So right-click all of these, and there we go. And I'm holding down the Shift key while I'm doing this. Okay, got all of those, X, and get rid of faces. Now you can see there's like a block in the middle there. Now what we're gonna need to do is jump back over into object mode, and I have everything selected. You're gonna wanna make sure that you have everything set down the middle so you can do a mirror select. It looks like it's fine, but I wanna guarantee that it is. So I'm gonna go Control and A, and location, see it moved, and Control A again, rotation, Control A again, and scale. All right, so now what I'm gonna be able to do is come over here to our modifier. That's guy right there. And the modifier I'm going to add is the mirror modifier. And this is going to be so when I draw a leg on the right, it appears on the left. So I'm going to go mirror, perfect, and X, and everything's fine. All right, so everything is great. Now what I can do is jump back over into edit mode. Now, whenever I draw out my legs, one problem I have, let's jump over here, is they are going to be basically right next to each other. So I don't want that. So I'm gonna put a loop cut down here that's gonna divide these areas. Again, Control R, and let's just move your mouse around until you get your loop cut where you want it. And yeah, sometimes you have to move though. Let's escape out of this. Let's move out of this and let's try it again. So Control R, and you want it to be right down the middle of your, there it goes, I got it. So that's where I want it to be. So there's my loop cut, and I'm gonna put it right down the middle. All right, so go back into 3. Now what we're gonna do is we need to select this face down here and extrude it down to create a leg. So I'm gonna come in, get a face, right click on it, go click on 3, and then I'm just going to extrude just like I did previously. So extrude that down, and you're going to want to make sure that you are selecting through the box. So this guy right here needs to be shut off. Otherwise, you're not going to be grabbing everything, and you're also going to want vertices. You're not going to want faces or edges. So I'm going to go A, and then I'm going to go B to do a box select, grab this, G, and drag this down. And again, and grab this guy, and G, and sort of drag it down. And you're going to want to try to keep them at the same level. And if we look, you can see that they're coming out on both sides of our dog. Go back into 3 again. And let's go and select both of these, extrude. And I'm just going to sort of go kind of fast here, and so that you get the gist of what's going on. And then of course you can go in and do more, add more details if you would like. And something like that. And this, and G, and do another extrude. Whoops, don't do that. Go escape. If you ever make a mistake, just hit escape and it'll go back to where it was. And B, and extrude, something like that. And do another box select. Grab this guy. See, if I didn't have this guy down here, this shut off, this limit selection of visible, it wouldn't be selecting the vertices that are behind. So that's the reason why I did that. And G, and you know, just a basic dog type of foot. All right, so let's deselect this, bring it up here, and you're gonna see everything is laying itself out pretty nice. Now, of course, we're going to do the same thing down here with this part. So again, we're going to go face select, and whoops, got the wrong one. That's the one that I want, the one on the outside, 3. And we're going to do another extrude. Bring this down here and make sure that I have the vertices selected down here, not face select. And go drag this, G, something like that. Box select off those, extrude it down again. All right, so there you go. There's a basic type of dog leg, and let's just extrude it down a little bit more just because it's a little bit off kilter. Okay, so of course I can make that a lot cleaner, but you get the gist of what I'm going for. All right, so there we got our dog leg, there we got our body, and now what we need to do is come in and I'm gonna probably work on the tail. Let's go and look at the face a little bit. Yeah, I wanna work on the tail. All right, so for my tail, what I wanna do is come in here and I basically want to have this block here and that block there be my tail area, correct? So let's just go and do a face select again, this and 3, and extrude, have our tail sort of go out, maybe just a little tiny bit. Zoom in here a little bit. I'm gonna hold down the shift key, middle mouse button, and drag that over. And I'm gonna do a vertices select on this, and then don't select anything, box select, and G to sort of drag the tail down into position. Unselect that, get this guy right here, and G. All right, looking good. And B, and I'll go and select both of those guys and extrude once again. G, maybe start to spread it out a little bit more. So grab that, G, box select, starting to come together and looking pretty good. I'm gonna select that, get this so that we can get this back down towards more like where we wanted it to be. Box select, extrude, G. I'm repeating myself just mainly because I want to just make sure you understand the whole process. I'm basically just doing the same thing here over and over again. So there we are, and zoom out a little bit, and then we can sort of finish off our tail that we have here. Select all that, G, whoops, I wanted it to be like that. Extrude, and maybe we can have it come together. I think it's getting pretty long here now. All right, so we got this guy, and unselect, and let's go get this. Drain it up more towards a point. Go and get this guy. Bring him down. Whoops. Unselect B. Grab that. G. More towards a point. Let's go and look and see what we got. And you can see those two are together because it's a tail and that's all perfectly fine. All right, so that looks pretty good. And then if we wanted to add some dimensionality to our tail, for example, very easy. You just go Control. Well, let's unselect everything. And we can go Control R, and we want it to be down the middle. Okay, so let's just go and put it down the middle, and we're going to do this with the body also. So we got that there, and if we want to, let's go unselect, and let's come down here, and let's just grab one side of it, so we don't have to see all that. So we can just right click on just the center of this, but we want to get the edges. So I'm going to go get the center. So click that and shift, and I'm not doing the alt because that would select the entire thing. And now what I can do is just come in here and add some dimensionality to our tail. See? Now it's 3-dimensional. And then we can do the same thing with the rest of our body. So the more and more 3-dimensionality we want to add, let's just go A, and let's go Control and R, and you can see there that is. And now what I can do is I can go and move my mouse wheel to create even more. And I'm going to do that. I just move my mouse wheel up 1 tick. And in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see number of cuts 2. See? Got that there, and I can move it into wherever I want it to be. Before I do that, I'm going to come into my face area that I have up inside of here, and I'm going to do the same exact thing with this guy. So let's go and grab and make the face a little bit thicker. So A, and I'm just going to grab the part that I want to be thick and not the part that I don't want to be thick. So I think like I want to thicken that out a little bit. So I'm going to grab it, pull it out. Oops, you know what? Undo that and go and select all of these parts. So let's get all of that. Okay, that looks good. And now you can see I'm adding some 3-dimensionality to the dog's face. And then of course I can go and bring the ears out. So let's unselect that. And then maybe we want to bring this up like this and then bring this out like that. And that's where the ears are going to go. And then I can also come in here and zoom in and right click on the different parts where the nose is going to be. Oops, go like this. Whoops. And let's unselect that. I'm getting a little bit crazy. Okay, so got the different, I'm trying to grab just the different parts of the nose and nothing else. So get this, something like that. Let's see what happens. All right, that's sort of coming in together. And then we can go and grab this guy right here and bring it in a little bit. And you get the gist of what we're doing here. Bring this in, bring in, let's go and grab the vertice that we have here, unselect everything, grab just the vertice, move the vertice in, and you can see I'm sort of pointing out the face of our dog. And then, of course, we can be able to go and extrude the ears up just like we did previously. Oh, I can come in here and do that. Let's just do a face select on this. So we got that guy. And I can do an extrude. And let's just have it be a little bit. And then we do a scale on that. Or you know what? I'm going to escape on that first. I'm going to do extrude. Let's bring our ears out a little bit. Place that and then do a scale on that and then bring them together in a pointed shape. There we go. And then we can go and play around with how we want the ears to go into position and then cut an edge into there. Do some control R's, try something like this, drag that inside of there and place it. And then we can grab this guy where we have our ears. Of course, the more of these loop cuts that we put inside of there, the more definition we're going to be able to add. So we got just this guy is what we're playing with, and we can bring that in, and you can see now it's forming an ear. Now, if I went and added more loop cuts, I'd be able to make a more rounded ear. Okay, so let's go and add in a couple more loop cuts for our body. So we'll just go unselect everything, Control R, and let's go and add 2 more onto this and put it something like that. And we'll go and add just a little bit at a time. So we'll grab all of these guys that we have right here. So basically the whole entire body except for our tail area. And then drag that out just a little bit. And then we can go and get the next part. So this, drag it out a little bit more, and then we can round out the overall body of the dog. And because we're using mirror, of course, anything that we do on the left side is going to also occur on the right side. So really nice stuff. And of course, you can continue doing this over and over and over again. All right, and then you can add some 3-dimensionality to that, and you can continue doing it over and over again. And I'm going to hold down the Shift key, move this over, and then of course you can thicken the legs also. So let's unselect everything and Control R and put that in there. Let's just say that's fine. And then let's go and select the individual parts of the legs like we did right like this. And oops, grab that one thing that I didn't want. Let's go and unselect it, bring it in here and drag it out. And now the legs are 3-dimensional. Okay, all right guys, so hopefully you enjoyed that. There is a couple different ways to model things inside of Blender. And of course, as the tutorial continues, I'm going to do more and more complicated things. And like always, please leave your questions and comments below. Otherwise, till next time.